Is there something here that would indicate a sniper used this place as a nest for taking the shot? Just some urban detritus, a bottle, and a dilapidated old comms tower. In the distance, you can hear the breakers roar.
I don't see it, Lieutenant W. Freighter. I don't see a person take a shot here and hit something there, in the whirling in rags. To warm his hands before pulling the trigger? Perhaps, but anyone could have made this. The coast is specked with fires this time of year. Truthfully, this seems like a very poor choice to take a 1.2 kilometer rifle shot from. Visibility is awful. There's water vapor everywhere. I think we can rule out Biddable Prime, was it? It's not possible to climb that ladder, and even if it were, why? There's no platform up there to aim from.
It does look extremely rickety, and wouldn't help much either.
Those? A smoking assailant who favors Tumutiri to Astra or Joan? Cigarette butts are everywhere. This is a common brand for all men.
Tumutiri was a Revacholian colony on Ilmaran. The Suzerainty's population was mostly Ilmaran Areopagites, up to 97%. The region was known for its tobacco export, hence the name. Oh, you do? The butts you saw had a silhouette of a boy wearing a coffee hat, a tobacco picker. This boy is the Tumutiri brand logo. Contemporary Revacholians prefer Juan, a local blend from the southern islands, or Astra, a legendary cigarette from Grad. Tumutiri is favored by older men who like its old-fashioned paper filter tips, insane amount of tar, and the sweet smells of colonialism and halva. There, 1.2 kilometers over the cold water of the bay, blue from the distance and the air, you see the smallest rectangle, barely visible. It's glowing in the dark night. The lights are on. Glazia must be in there. Looks like she kept her promise not to go out at night anymore.
The legend returns. You know the deal, legend man. Smokes a smoky, pilsner, gets you drunk. You've already cleaned me out of spirits. And speed. My kind of guy. Here you go, friend. Bottoms up, Captain.
Tequila Sunset. Of course. Drink first, story later. Not much, but it will do. The tale I'm about to tell you is an urban legend particular to Martinaise. That said, I first heard it from a former bicycle courier in Coran. There are many variations on the basic story, and the details often conflict. What everyone agrees on is that nobody knows the exact nature or identity of the phenomenon.
Are you telling the story of the headless...
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. Summer of 44. 17-year-old Gertrude Het is walking home from a late shift at the harbor. It's almost midnight. She stops for a cigarette near the canal.
The streets are warmed by a southerly breeze. The lights of a passing motor carriage bloom and fade in the distance. In the harbor's dark, her cigarette is a beacon, dancing alone. The image comes to you effortlessly, as though you'd walked the same streets yourself 1,000 times.
Our heroine finds herself enjoying the peace and quiet the canal provides. What she doesn't know is that her peace is about to be shattered. From behind her comes the clattering of hooves. Startled, she turns around, and what does she see? What? No, I told you this is a Martinez legend. It's a man with no head on his shoulders, wearing a found tracksuit, searching for the legendary found cap that went missing when he lost his head.
I thought that he rode a headless pig.
Well, there are many versions of this story, the most peculiar of which has the headless found rider riding on the back of another headless man. Yes. According to legend, young Gertrude Het had to endure years of psychotherapy before she was able to look at a horse or tracksuit again. And she's one of the lucky ones. Gertrude Het may have been the first to witness the headless found rider, but she wasn't the last. Oh no.
Tell him about the two feminists by the locks.
Fuck, Rosemary, they were dating. No one said they were feminists. Everyone always misremembering this stuff.
This wouldn't be the De Ponte Delgado case, would it?
What? You know it.
I've read the case file, but please, go on.
Right. Early autumn of 46. Ulla DuPont and Eva Delgado are fishing near the waterlock long after the sun has set. The wind picks up. A sky already dark now blackens. Water starts falling from above. The first cold rain of the season.
Two women stand on a small outcropping of rocks. One of them is wearing a purple raincoat. Thin lines reach out from the rods into the sea. Small droplets start appearing on the surface with increasing frequency.
The women are caught in the downpour. They act quickly. Eva gathers the rods whilst Ulla turns around to reach for the tackle box.
Don't turn around. Don't turn around.
When she sees something, her shriek is so violent that the residents of the nearby apartment building believe lightning has struck. But there is no lightning. Only a heavy downpour and the silhouette of the headless found rider looming on the horizon. Ulla makes a run for the shore, but Eva slips on a wet rock and disappears into the cold, cold canal with nary a sound. Her body is never recovered. Word on the street is that she, gave herself facial deconstruction surgery. Real grisly stuff.
That part, at least more or less, corresponds to the case file.
See? Told you. Anyway, that's the story of the Headless Foul Rider. Pretty crazy, huh? Well, Tequila, that's part of the legend. No one knows for sure. There are a couple of possibilities, though. Some say he was an undercover cop who blew his cover and got beheaded by the vicious gang he had infiltrated. Now he rides, searching for his lost-found cap, plotting revenge.
O headless brother, where art thou?
Others claim he was a professional jockey who veered off course during a steeplechase, ended up in somebody's backyard, and got decapitated by an exceptionally taut clothesline. Personally, I think he was just some guy who hanged himself from a really tall tree, and the fall was so violent that his head came clean off. Coincidentally, at that exact moment, a horse happened to pass under him, and his beheaded corpse mounted it, where it remains to this day. But then, no one really knows.
For some reason, this does strike you as the most plausible theory of them all.
Isn't it? All the pieces fit together perfectly. That's how I know it's right. Anyway, to each his own. You want to hear any other stories?
Hard to argue with that, I suppose.
That's the reality situation for you. You think you got a handle on it, then blam! It throws some wild shit at you. That's why it's critical to stay well hydrated. Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit, Tequila? There's no way you know a better one than that. Acid Gnomes? Sounds like a stupid, low-concept band name. No one knows. Some say he stalks matinees to this day, and can be seen near the canal when the clock strikes midnight. Ooh.
He won't, though, because it's just a stupid legend.
Aye, I saw him one night when I was right shit-faced.
Tequila Sunset. I actually do have one. The strangest of them all. But I'll need to fortify myself before I can tell that one. Do you have anything to fortify old Doom Spiral? Tell me you got some story juice. Classy. This last one is the most Martinet story I've ever heard. I've never heard it mentioned outside of here. At first, I thought it was a joke, to be honest. But I've been on the coast 8, 9 months now, and in that time I've seen at least 3 expeditions come through, searching for something.
A shovel hits the sand somewhere behind the reeds, near an abandoned construction yard. The young men look over their shoulders suspiciously. The sound of their digging seems loud in the sudden silence.
Hey, hey! Fuck you, Tequila. All kinds. I've seen archaeologists, gangsters, even a bunch of ad agency types. I'm telling you, Tequila, this thing's got a pull on certain kinds of people. You know, obsessive types. People with predilections. Some of those expeditions come back after a week or so, looking haggard and dejected. Others don't return at all. The first time I saw one of these expeditions, I thought they were fucking with me. There was no way it could be true. It was just too high concept, even for me. I'm not even sure I should be telling you this story, to be perfectly honest. You're in a fragile state, and it might be too much for you to handle. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. But I'm warning you, it's pretty out there. Our story begins at a legendary design studio, right here in Martinez. There was this designer. His exact name is lost to history, but in life, he was a legend. Made it big in Aranya, where he did some real pioneering work on grotesque and sans serif typography. A fucking genius, man. That is, if he even existed. Who knows? It's an urban legend, after all. Anyway, sometime later he started his own personal studio here in Martinez. And that's when he started working on some really wild stuff. I'm talking some glass-smooth, forward-looking design language, the kind of thing that would totally overthrow the old regime, design-wise.
A paradigm-shattering revolutionary?
But then, something turned. You see, it's widely known that nose candy and pioneer graphic design work go hand in hand. You know Tequila, nose candy, the White Railroad, party powder.
The kids on the streets also call it Snow Day.
Or Emalan gold, for the plateau on which most of the world's supply is grown and harvested, typically by slave labor.
Sinus salt, the White Knight.
Can't see, for its popularity among the aristocratic class of the prior century.
Along with a number of more banal street names. Blow, of course, but also flake, powder, pearl. Really, anything that's white will work. He's talking about cocaine, baby.
Shit yeah, Tequila. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got to understand, the work this guy was doing was so high concept that regular amounts of cocaine just weren't cutting it. By the end, they were bringing it in by the lorry load. Now, as you might imagine, Snorting that much cocaine can't be healthy for a regular human, right?
Wrong. Do it all the time. All day, baby.
Hey, Tequila, pay attention. The story goes that one day he was balls deep in work on what he thought would be his pièce de résistance, an advert so minimal it contained neither text nor images, just pure white. Apparently the idea was too high concept even for this genius. He dropped dead right at his desk before he could finish. His last words are recorded to have been, "It's as white as a blizzard of cocaine." I know, Tequila. I know. But the story doesn't end there. Supposedly, when they performed the autopsy, the coroner discovered nearly a quarter kilo of coke jammed into his nasal cavity. That's right. 250 grams of blow had accumulated in there over the years. We're talking high-grade Saramaritsian pure. Not that cut-rate shit your grandma does. There are those who believe the designer was buried with this quarter key of nose candy still lodged in his sinuses. That's what those expeditions are looking for.
The cocaine skull.
The cocaine skull. No. Wow! Here's the kicker. This designer, this lead designer of a world-famous design studio, was born in Martinez. A local boy, Martin Martinez. That's why he brought his studio here, back to where it all began. And that's why they buried him here, too. Perhaps right under Ab's pipe there. Or probably further down the coast, or in some yard in Martinez proper. A hidden mausoleum, no one knows exactly.
No, my grandma always told me his grave lay somewhere on the islets on the bay.
This is ludicrous and physically impossible. Sinuses can contain that amount of anything.
Now, detective. Always the skeptic. My only question is, where does one get a shovel?
The archaeologists say they want to put it in a museum, the gangsters say they want to sell it on the black market, and the ad agency guys say they're seeking inspiration.
Bullshit. They just want to snort it. But you could beat them to it, Harry. You could snort the magic skull cocaine instead.
I'm pretty sure they all just want to snort it, though.
And why wouldn't they, eh? Sounds like right strong stuff.
They're pretty vague about it in general. The gangsters like to claim they're looking for the grave of a friend, with picks and shovels. The archaeologists act all official about it, saying they're conducting serious research. Honestly, I think they're not really scientists, just rich. The junkies, for some reason, are pretty upfront about it. They just say they're looking to snort some blow out of a dead man's nasal cavity.
Honest men on an honest quest. You should join them.
By now, I'd say I know about as much about it as anyone on the coast. Don't listen to him or his grandma. He's just making things up.
No, my grandma told me. I've heard other people say it too. That it's underwater. Or no, maybe it was the storm sewers.
Or maybe it's in the air, or in an ancient state pyramid offshore.
In a pyramid? Now that would be something.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on just a minute. Finding it right now is literally impossible.
What?
For one, the way is blocked by that big lorry that says Delta Logistics Company on the side. You definitely have to search the area behind that lorry too, yet it is impassable. And second, outfitting an expedition like that is expensive. It'd have to be a big production to do the cocaine skull justice. You need new gear, people who know what they're doing, all kinds of provisions. It's just not feasible within the economic and temporal frame of our current setup. Matter of fact, unless a bunch of money just falls out of the sky, we might never know what's up with that skull.
I have to agree. We barely have what we need to solve the case we've got now. We can't afford to run around chasing after quasi-mythical pieces of drug paraphernalia. Besides, it would look extremely bad for the RCM to be caught up in something that has the word cocaine writ large on it. The PR is tricky on this.
Wait, maybe there's another way. Maybe up around the coast? Don't give up now.
Yeah, well, that's the reality situation for you. Who knows, though? Maybe someday we'll get our chance.
Not that I can think of, currently. That might be the case, yes. It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day. Good night, officer. We need...
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking part in a murder investigation. Ah, yes. The night before I saw you in the hallway and reminded you you're a police officer.
The date of your re-entry into the fossil record.
Wow. That's some Croatian myth stuff right there. Wow. Elysium. You don't hear that term often.
She's a glib girl, but she liked the wording.
There was the usual ruckus. Loud disco music. I can't say. Probably not. Sounded like you were flying solo. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestrations prime among them.
Oh, that? Yeah. Whoa. The less said about OO, the better.
Were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course, like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on.
Then, doesn't life get hard because we go on?
I don't know about that. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of that time you were yelling along to it. Yes, there was a church in there. A really small church. Like the smallest, saddest church in the whole world. It was about that. And also that it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now. It was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a wounded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Yes, it was very cool.
It's impossible to say whether she's being sarcastic or really means it.
Then you started screaming and trashed the place. A window was smashed, the tape player probably, the song stopped. And furniture too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then. around 4 or 5, and that was it. No problem, sir.
There is a slip of questions that keeps everything in order. The questions are inside a blue notebook. The notebook is inside the lieutenant's pocket. Before the questions leave your mouth, you realize he should be here for this.
Oh, I'm guessing your partner should be here too.
It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest.